Welcome to our game, Hoyo Negro. I'm sorry if I butchered that, just my apologies. Which would mean subterranean wayfinding right here. Well, it has a specific meaning for Hoyo Negro, which is supposed to mean, in Spanish, the black hole. Which was inspired by this team right here. Our lead client is Dominique Brasilio. He is a research scientist at an QI and a principal and an investigator within the Hoyo Negro. Well, for the archaeology project. His team, including Laura Clark and Scott McCovey, also played a major role in mentoring role in our games in development, which it was very helpful actually. Our game takes place in Mexico, Central America, right here, on the coast of the Gulf of America during the Ice Age. As you can see in the first image, the sea level was much lower in this area during the Ice Age right here. At least it got smaller and smaller eventually. Throughout this area were there many cave systems within Hoyo Negro, being one of the most famous. During the Ice Age, many of the prehistoric animals entered these in the caves, which were pitch dark and died either from falling or getting lost and dying of starvation. A major scientific question Dr. Rosilio and his colleagues want to understand is how did these animals got there? And how did they investigate these in the caves? And what caused their deaths? Fantastic question. Our team made a serious game simulation to better understand how different the Ice Age species navigated inside these pitch dark caves. After the Ice Age, the sea level rose and flooded these cave systems. So now, for archaeologists to discover these Ice Age animals, they have died. They have died. Apparently, there was no period in the script. Thank you, I appreciate it. From the left, Hoyo Negro Cave. Next will be the Gomphothere, which is supposed to be like a specific type of elephant with straighter tusks, and a short-faced bear skull. You do not control any of the animals. I'm being very specific about that. As in, this is a tool for research used by a paleont. It's always going to be the hard words, isn't it? Paleontologists and archaeologists. The player controls the camera and watches the animals in their ecosystem as they explore. The simulation is used to observe which animals survive, how far they travel, how long they last within the cave, as part of the environment, in order to study the animal behavior. The animals pick their way through the cave in the pitch dark based on the physics and wayfinding strategies, which meaning in wayfinding, it's forms of exploration. The simulation shows potential paths the animals may have taken that led to their deaths. Dr. Lucilio and his team wanted to understand how the cave morphology and the animal morphology I had to be saying that twice, led to the specific location and demise of these animals, which we'll introduce to our team. My name is Cabe Trenton Lee. I am the game/sound design manager, which I have a good education from Brigham Young University from Idaho. Very fun bunch, lovely. Which I'm focusing on software development and in a game graphic design for game development. Which I got a bunch of little favorites right on the bottom, so I'll let everybody else be introduced to these guys here.
Hi, my name is Sergio. I am the systems developer in the team. I am a senior at Willamette University, majoring in computer science with a minor in data science.
I'm Israel Chavez. I am a AI programmer. and I'm a AI programmer, and I go to Harding University, and I'm trying to do a computer science major.
I am Dasrathi. I am an upcoming sophomore at University of California, Merced, studying CSE. I'm working as a programmer and artist for this team.
All right. Lovely to meet these guys right here. Thank you, much appreciated. Thank you. Let's see. As a part of my role as a designer, and well, partially a manager, since credit where credit's due, for my overall team, we had to try to set up our own team design, which we had to raise up into each goal and try to mention it to each other. As in, we guide each other where we go step by step and run the process for each team meeting. We work together as a team in order to try to, figure out what the client would like to see from his vision into the game. As we had to take notes in order to try to make sure and try to give some consensual direction, so we would have a little bit more of a better focus about where to go with the actual game, about through the client's vision. And the team has some feedback, even the client has some feedback about like what is possible and what is not possible at the moment. So we had to keep our primaries in mind, and whatever we want to do would be secondary between, but we still did what we like to do right at the very, in between, as long as we get done some of our primaries between. As I had to do the blueprints for the game, which would be the game design. I had to do its menu design, where it's all the clickable buttons you would see from around the left part of the slide here, which I had to try to do the animal and 3D modeling research in order to try to actually focus these accurate in a time period and animals in between. Animals will be Ice Age animals as related to the list that's been discovered in this overall cave. And I had to balance the player UI, which basically had to be the health bar and the stamina bar, with a little timer on the side. And I will give credit to our mentor so far that gives us a great feedback about adding text to the side, so it's a little bit more understandable about which is the animal, the third person perspective, and even when the lights are spotlight to that one character or light up the cave and you can see what's around it. As you can set up this said cave as through the start and the setup menu. By when you click the start of the game, you basically get a whole menu that's supposed to try to get, these different types of animals and the number of them that you can actually place upon each animal's overall, ecosystem.
As the systems developer for this team, I was responsible for developing the simulator systems, such as the following three. The underwater detection system, which is responsible for detecting whether the character is underwater or not and perform the appropriate actions. I also made the exhaustion monitoring system, which is responsible for keeping track of the character's stamina, and the character spawning system, which is responsible for spawning in additional characters in the cave. In addition, I also performed bug fixes to each system that I'm created through thorough testing and problem solving each individual issue that were found. Also aided colleagues with their own separate issues when it was requested to do so by them. And I'll demonstrate a little video of the exhaustion monitoring system, or so we will abbreviate it EMS in action. In the video, actually made it click. So as I was saying, in the video, keep in mind in the top left of the video, where the statistics bar the statistics section will be, particularly to the green bar, which is the stamina bar, as that will be moving as the character moves, as shown in a few seconds. As you notice, as the character moves, the stamina bar drops, and when it stops, it will increase slightly as the character stopped, and it will resume dropping once the character starts moving again. Eventually, though, it will reach a moment where the stamina bar drops all the way to 0, and in that moment, the character will stop fully, entering a rested state. To help explain the EMS a little bit further, I'll show a flowchart I made to help explain it a little bit more in detail. On the top of the flowchart is the main execution, where the it checks that the exhaustion level is 0 and that the EMS increaser is not active. If both conditions are met, then the character is not exhausted, else it is exhausted. Then, assuming that the character is fully exhausted, we check that the character stops resting. If so, we can set the interval in which the character will stop resting and the next time it's fully exhausted. In the middle is the EMS increaser mechanism. It checks if the character is moving. If it isn't moving, then we'll add a value of 5 to the exhaustion level, which increases the stamina. And now for the decreaser, which is in the bottom, it checks that the increaser is active first. Then this is important because the way the system works is that if the increaser is active and the decreaser is also active, it will prioritize the decreaser first. So the stamina will not change. So this is why this check is very important. So if the increaser is not active, then we can set the decreaser as active essentially. And it'll work, the logic works similarly to the increaser with a few differences. Instead of running when the character is not moving, it will run when the character is moving. And it will decrease the exhaustion level by 5, which decreases the stamina.
And as the AI developer, as the AI behavior programmer, I do the character and AI programming. I also do bug fixes and found some crazy ones that you'll see later. Here's an AI behavior diagram. As you can see at the start, it goes into what I call a wandering phase, where it'll run straight forward until it runs into a wall or falls off a cliff. If it falls, then it'll first check if it hits a wall. Then if it does, it'll redirect off the wall towards a different direction. If it's falling, it'll fall and take damage depending on the amount of falling it did. Let's see. As you can see, there it go, and it moves, hits a wall, and then it redirects itself, and then keeps moving. Then it'll keep doing this until it runs to another wall or falls off the cliff, which then will cause it to die. Yep. Who would have guessed? So then here's some crazy bugs that I found. As you can see, helicopter animal. These are included but not limited to helicopter animal. These are basically the character decides that gravity does not exist and just leaves the screen. There's another one where to have the actual model fall off the cliff, we need a platform for it. For some reason, if you set it too high, it goes flying to space. There's also a different where the model either is not there or is just in a completely different area, so the platform just appears there. Then there is a pause glitch where you can pause the game, but there is no check to actually stop you from pausing the game further, so it keeps pausing the game and stacks all the pause menus on top of each other, causing a really blurry screen later. And then there's the max screen blur, which is basically at random intervals when we were testing it, it just decided that the max blur was just zoomed all the way. It's like if you put the FOV all the way max, but it's at a random direction. That's what it was. There we go.
Now moving into the visual design of the game. This is where innovation meets precision. I began by importing the animals from monitoring website Sketchfab and increasing the authenticity by adding outlines and custom animations. I imported the procedural walk plugin from Unreal and precisely animated each animal to replicate the distinct movement of its real-life counterpart. So this is not just animation. This is where history comes to life. I find the material and create a vibrant outline so animals can jump out of the screen. I imported, assembled, and adjusted the Hoyo Negro cave, pit, and entrance, and expanded the simulation to make this really immersive environment like in this real life. So this is more than just a structure. It has a realistic material and a dynamic opening so animals can get out of the entrance. Now, you see the rocks that you see there are not mere aesthetics. They are just strategically placed to invoke the vibe of real cave environment. And I didn't stop there. I even gave the option to illuminate your own journey with point lights, so players or users can view the intricate details of the cave at their own leisure. And last but not least, I added a spotlight to create this dramatic feel, even when all the lights are extinguished. However, this is not just a simulation, but this is a step into another world, showcasing my motivation and authenticity and unwavering commitment to realism. That's the video of the light change. So I'm just panning around here, just showing the model.
Oh, thank you, Dasrathi. Much appreciated. Okay, so as I was in a basic going through my role, I added an additional role to myself at this point. What if there would be a little bit more sound to the game, where I had to try to add it for the menus? It wasn't enough time to try to add every single roaring animal at this point. I had to remove that for now, which I had to check for its overall music, for music and sound effects for licensing. So they would be open source and they would be easier to, easy on the ears here and there. Which I had to place these sounds rather than these overall menus between, which basically, makes it into invisible design. You're not supposed to notice too much about it. You're just, hey, it feels like a game. You guys want to play the game. We might as well move on to the actual gameplay in between. Which, when it comes to the gameplay itself, there were numerous bugs. There were numerous tests we had to do, and I'll keep it short. As I had to try to manage and game test, a bunch of stuff, where everybody has their tasks between. They let me know when things are going into bugs, and like the helicopter, for example, like you guys saw from his overall stuff, which is pretty funny. So we ended up in a bug fixing in the majority of them, and we did the best that we can with the materials we got right here, which we can show you our trailer for the game. And I only saw that this morning. Now that this has been brought to light, you can see that the vision that's been brought, bringing these animals to life during the Ice Age. As at this point, we'll get to the near end of it pretty quick. So we didn't exactly get to finish everything within the game. So I'll leave.
Just to quickly go over like the additional features we would implement in the future, if given the chance, is improved path tracing, prey and predator behavior, hunger or thirst, characteristics, cave obstacles, and for future applications, expand to other cave systems.
I would love to give a thank you to our mentor, Jeffrey Hatta. Great inspiration of a man. He was a great time at this point.
Thank you guys so much. Let's give him one more round of applause. Thank you guys.
All right.